Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining today, everybody. I am pretty excited to get into today's whiskey review. We have the Evan Williams 1783. And quite a few people were saying that I needed to try this. This is actually my very first bottle of this. Now, we'll get into this one in just a minute. This one is a little different. It's the American Hero edition. So I am curious on that. I know what the description is from the little hang tag thing, but I might be looking for more of your help in the comments to let me know if this pretty much tastes the same as a basic 1783 or if it does stand out a little bit. But let's get into this one. I can't wait to break this down for you. So thank you for joining me today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. All right. So we're going to pour about an ounce there. That looks pretty good. And then look at today's Glen. We got a Hello Again Whiskey Friends Glen. People are just starting to get their hands on these. I got to ship these all around the country. And it's so great. People are taking pictures of them on Instagram and posting them. Feels really good when I see that. It's great to see it just out in the world, It's like this thing that was just in your head. Now it's in places. It's amazing. So we do got a screw top here. So this is a screw top. And this Evan Williams 1783, this completes essentially a series I've been doing, I would say, for the whole year. I have been exploring the bottom shelf, quote unquote, whiskeys. Cheaper whiskeys is probably a better acronym than bottom shelf. Bottom shelf comes with some type of negative connotation to it, and that's not the case at all. But these Heaven Hill cheaper whiskeys, $15 to $20. I've been exploring those all year. That would be the JW Dant, the JTS Brown. I always say GTS Brown. JTS Brown, the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond, and now the Evan Williams 1783. And when I reviewed the first three, people kept saying in the comments, Jeff, have you tried this one yet? You need to review this one. And it's just one of those whiskeys that I just didn't buy. It's people told me it was good. Other people did good reviews of it. It just never really popped up on my radar. So finally, I did it. I bought one. And in addition to that, I got the American Hero edition, which on the little tag that I accidentally threw away when I was cleaning this bar, inadvertently, I guess, not necessarily accidentally, but forgot that I actually still needed it. It said on there that this batch was specifically chosen, I think, retired Army or military, essentially. And this was the batch that they chose. So what I don't know is how this compares to the basic 1783. So let me know in the comments if you've had both. Are they essentially the same thing? They were the exact same price. I mainly got this one because it had the cool labeling and the American flag on it. I think it's a cool looking bottle and a cool looking label, right? Like, I'm going to go take this to the 4th of July and have my family drink this. It's going to be great. But this does then complete the series at this point that I think I've reviewed all of the $15 to $20 Heaven Hill products. And I'll kind of do a reflection on that at the end of this video in general and where I think this one lies compared to the other three. So let's get into the tasting notes. Let's get into the nose. Let's get into the palate, and let's break this thing down together. Cheers, whiskey friends. Thank you for joining me so far. One thing that strikes me on this, so this is 90 proof, and it was $20, $19.99 was the investment into this one. And on the nose, it really does come across so crisp and so clean. Like, it's not spiky at all, but it gives you lots of flavors. Doesn't make you work for it, but then it's there. It's nice and present. It's calming. I, crisp and clean. And the notes that come across here, not going to be too unexpected from a Heaven Hill product. Mainly you get this nice creamy peanut butter. There's a slight pepper. There's even a little hint of lemon and also this crisp oak. It's not young oak, it's not old oak, it's just this crisp oak. And there's a nice sugary sweetness too. That peanut butter that I'm alluding to is maybe even like the inside of a candy bar peanut butter, like a Reese Pieces. Not Reese Pieces. Well, I guess Reese Pieces works, but I'm thinking the peanut butter cups. But like that type of more sugary, sweeter peanut butter. Hmm. All right, let's get into the taste. Mhm. Mm, Gosh. Oh, that was a really good sip. This is a good way to start a day, actually. This is the first pour of the day here. Good old 90 proofer. So up front, you're getting some cinnamon spiciness. That pepper that I mentioned on the nose kind of comes through. But ultimately, what I get up front is more of a butterscotch bomb initially. Just gives you that sweetness and that butterscotch bomb. The mouthfeel for a 90 proofer as well is pretty strong. It comes across pretty oily, despite being 90 proof and essentially watered down all that way. Mid palate, that creamy peanut butter continues. I don't know about not like a jar of peanut butter though, more like a something whipped, like a peanut butter mousse. Like if somebody had like a peanut butter mousse kind of dessert, it comes across that way. And there's a bit of a espresso on it as well, mid palate. It's almost brings me back to like a fancy restaurant, getting some peanut butter mousse and some espresso on the side. That's a pretty good little dessert there. And then the finish is essentially just a continuation of mid palate, and it adds that oak comes back that I mentioned off the nose. So you get that nice fresh oak, and then there's I would say a molasses. Yeah, that's about it. It's very, very pleasant all the way through. Mm. Yeah, I think that about sums it up right there. That espresso's even coming further on that finish there on that sip. But yeah, I mean, if I can, let's see if the camera will do a good job kind of showing you how viscous that is. That's pretty good. The main thing I would kind of hold against this pour in particular, I mean, there's not a whole lot of depth here. I can just say the flavors, and it's just like a handful of things, right? It's the butterscotch, it's the peanut butter mousse, and it's the espresso with little hints of things, peppers, oak. But those are three pretty strong notes. So I really like the flavor on this thing. Last sip, and let's get into the scores. Yeah, just perfectly pleasant. Hmm. Makes me smile too, That's what I like about this. So, getting into the scores, here on the channel, we do have a three-tier scoring system, breaking things down in terms of flavor, experience, and value. Flavor is essentially just how enjoyable the flavors are each step of the way. Experience, that's more about the mouthfeel, but also the complexity and the length of the finish. And then value, price paid. Of course, it's getting all the points on value on this one. It was only $20 and it's delicious. So yeah, the flavor is what sticks out to me on this particular one. Gave it 75% of the possible points when it came to flavor. It just doesn't have extra gear to get any higher points on flavor, but everything it does is pretty much getting seven and eights across the board, and that's how you end up with a 75% score on flavor. Experience, There really isn't too much of a finish to this thing. There's not any complexity. The mouthfeel was good, so that held it up a little bit. But from the experience standpoint, I mean, you're not into this pour for the experience standpoint. Let's just be honest. So all in all, averages out to a 73 out of 100 overall, which is a very good pour, especially for $20. Recommend. I said 8 out of 10 on this one. I know some people, no matter what you say about a $20 whiskey, they're like, I'm not going to waste my time on any bottom shelf $20 whiskeys. Hey, there is a time and a place for any pour. Having this in your arsenal, I think, is actually a very good move. So do I plan to buy another? Yeah, I'll buy another one of these. I can't wait to serve this to guests. I think a lot of my guests are going to love this thing. I bet you gosh, I could think of a couple family members who are going to love this thing. I know they are. This be a great one to use as an introductory bourbon, quite frankly, because it's just crisp all around. The flavors are easy to pull out, and it's rich. It's viscous. I mean, what else can you ask for a $20 pour? So ultimately, when we are talking about the 1783 versus the JW Dant versus the JTS Brown versus the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. The Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, I think from the higher proof, maybe has got a bit more complexity points out to me. They were really close in terms of their final score. I think I gave the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond a 72 compared to a 73 here. I think this one for the flavors takes it. This is probably the best one of all 4 Heaven Hill bottles. So if you can pay up from the $15 from the JW Dant to the $18 for the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond to the $20 for this one, spend the extra $5 to $2. Now, the other thing I think this comes in handy for, I mean, this is, in my mind, a pool sipping whiskey, something you could drink in hot weather, something you could put in a flask, take it to a movie or wherever you have your flask handy. And this be the perfect pour for a whole bunch of situations like that. Okay, we're going for one more sip. Yeah, I just like drinking it. It's good. So that concludes my review of the Evan Williams 1783. Once again, this was the American Hero edition. So this is meaningfully different than the regular edition. I just need to know in the comments. Let me know if you know the answer to that question. But this is getting my stamp of approval and is probably one of the strongest 20 or under pours that you can get. So thank you for joining me today, whiskey friends. We'll catch you on the next whiskey review. Goodbye, everybody.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you